Good morning.
Good morning.
As Rod Loomis said in the introduction, I am the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Greater Chico. And I would like you to, all of you, to join me as I join Dr. Ken in July. So it's my personal invitation to each one of you to come cruise. Come cruise. It was shared with me by Dr. Ken that this is a moment that is going to be profound. It is with the Cultural Integrity and Evolution Committee. A lot of fancy words, isn't it? But in that, there's a wholeness and a completeness of idea. And so, 7 days with very like-minded spiritual people to not only evolve your own self and your own soul and your own spirituality, but to allow that to be part of the larger view. You know, where two or more are gathered, it's that concept of creating and loving and being. And so, on this theme of wholeness this month at our center, there's a quote in your program from me, and it says, "Live life in love, and give to life generously." Generously. So my lesson title, Intuition as an Indicator, is quite profound for me. The definition of intuition in the world view is the power or faculty of attaining to direct knowledge or cognition. It's the process of knowing and is without evident rational thought or inference. So what's inference? You know, any of you who know me I know I love words, and I like to dig deep and find out what they mean, because it helps me understand. Well, inference is the act of passing from one proposition, statement, or judgment considered as true to another, whose truth is believed to follow from that of the former. So it's based on something that's already known. Okay? Now, in our teaching, Science of Mind, we take a higher view, quite possibly, to the spiritual definition. And our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, tells us that intuition is God in man, revealing to him the realities, the spiritual realities of the very beingness of who we are. Just as instinct guides the animal, so would intuition guide you and I, if we would allow it to operate through us. So, intuition is the ability to know without any process of reasoning. Question: were you raised with intuition being only the woman's thing she did? That man didn't have it, male didn't have it. We had a hunch. We had a guess. Well, based upon this is, what I think. Well, it's not gender specific, spiritually speaking. And so, intuition as an indicator, okay? Intuition as an indicator. So what is the indicator? What does it indicate? And why should it even be part of my title? Well, the indicator is Spirit's idea of that which is yet to be our experience. It is something that comes up just without any provocation. It many times is a surprise. How many of us have said, "Oh, I should have acted on that," and I didn't. I don't care what it is. I mean, we've all had some experience. And it's either been, "Oh, I wish I had," or "I'm glad I listened," or "I wish I did, I'm glad I didn't do that." I mean, there's all kinds of ways the outcome turns around. But there is always that within us that comes up and says, what about this? What about this? This is what I believe to be about this or that. And what I know about the intuition and the indicator aspect is that each of us is already equipped with who we are and what we need. I was taught to accept most everything in my life. It's not always good. Even though my indicators would pop up and say, I don't really want that experience, or to do that thing, but I would say, oh, I have to be nice. I have to play the game a certain way. So what I found out was I learned to play it my way. Follow my own dreams, my own way of doing life. So as we allow ourselves to tap that deep root of what I call truth within us, because we have that truth, the greater our knowing of ourselves and that of our purpose in life. A lot of us wonder, what is my purpose? Why am I here? What am I to do? Well, I found out that it takes time to revisit that part of ourselves. Like on Sundays, to be here, to be present, to be open to listen. And not just to me. This could be a trigger. This could be a spade in your upper soil of understanding of yourself. But deeper down, something may come up for you within yourself, I'm quite certain, as your intuition, as that deeper idea, as that truth of who you are, that taproot of belief for yourself. There's a book by a transformational teacher, Gene Houston. It's called The Wizard of Us. Do you know of it? It's based on The Wizard of Oz. And the subtitle is Transformational Lessons on and from Oz. So the author shares this. If you take time to establish a connection and a relationship is cultivated, you may find yourself guided by the archetype into a larger story, often of mythical proportions, where journeys may be taken, challenges offered, and training in the depths may be experienced. How many of us have taken a class, had a conversation, made a statement of wanting something different, and our life changes? We take the journey. Transformation starts happening. I'm always careful, and I'm very specific when I say careful. I'm specific when I speak about what I say I want. Because God, Universal Spirit, doesn't say you can have this and can't have that. It's an automatic, responsive power that takes the impress of whatever we want in our lives and carries that forth. And along the way, we might have a few surprises. Surprises. When we give ourselves permission to recognize our relationship with our spiritual self, our oneness, we are attuned to, and I'll say more attuned in, to our intuition, because it opens us up to listen. And it is there that begins the journey into an expanded awareness of something greater, something larger. I have been so amazed in my life at the kinds of experiences that I've had. The idea of a concert on the 7th of November. It was an idea that it just, thanks to Maestro Rod here, and all the other people involved, but it was magical. The next day I heard from many people, we should have it every week or every month. And I said, don't tell Rod. He doesn't want to hear that now. Maybe next week. But it was a greater idea. Out of that idea came, and it's expanding all the time. And people are talking about it. So any idea that we have works the same way. But we have to share it. We have to put it out and see where it goes. See where it goes. Well, this journey is a spiritual practice. This moving into what is new. We say we have to come to church, which is good. Thank you for being here. But we have to like sit down and we have to do this little boxed up practice. We have to go to an altar. Those are all good reminders. They really are. They can focus us. They can bring us to peace. And use whatever works for you. But part of the practice is practicing. It's moving physically into your life practice. And seeing how you deal with that. See how you do with that. You know, when Dorothy took off down the old brick road, I mean, something died under that house. But metaphorically, the wicked witch, or one of the witches, but an idea died there. And she was on a new journey down this path. Follow the old brick road. And she got to meet a lot of her fears, a lot of parts of herself, the heart, the brain, the courage, to move forward into her life, her journey. But she had to put on new shoes, didn't she, to do that? She had to take some new steps, learn a new dance, meet new people. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, writes in the textbook, this is the quote, "To the average person, when a result is obtained, it looks as though a miracle has happened. But such is not the case. It is only a miracle as everything else in life is a miracle. A definite, conscious idea has been set in motion in the subjective world, which then accepts the ideas as their own valuation and then tends to act upon them. The road has been paved and we have to set off, in other words." So I'd like to look at the word intuition again. Intuition. Let's break that apart. Tuition is something that is paid to get something, as in college. Reverend Louis would state, for everything in life, there is a tuition. You may have heard him say that. And it's true. But what I know spiritually is that our tuition is already in us. We've already been equipped. It's been prepaid. Why not experience it? Why not experience it? And when in the movie The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy is standing with the wizard in the Emerald City, and she has to go home, what does Glinda tell her? You've always been able. You've always had that power to do that. So her ritual was, click your heels and say, I want to go home. That was her, that got her there. But within her was always the ability to go home. We had that ability too. Home. Right here. We have that ability to move back into our spiritual self at any given moment. But guess what? We get confused with the smoke and the drama and the witches flying around and all that stuff. All that stuff in our life that distracts us. Some of it's pretty exciting, isn't it? I like some of it. But I know it's a distraction. And along the way of distraction, there's choices. So we get to go home to the true place of the heart. Today is a reminder of that. And it's encouraged from within us as our intuition. as our intuition. You know, it really takes a lot of faith to accept who you are. It really does. It's a lot of faith. I know some of the other teachings in the world, they say, have faith in something over here or something over there. And those are reminders, of course. It's like I mentioned earlier. But to have faith within yourself about what you're feeling, about your own inner urgings, about who you know you are already, that nobody else can take away from you in reality. It might for a minute, it might for a year, it might for 20 years, but people find themselves. Take time to establish your connections, as Gene Houston tells us. I want to tell you about a gentleman who lives in Chico. You may have seen him riding around downtown in a pedicab with the music blaring. Mm-hmm. It's called Mike's G-Ride. And on the back of the pedicab with him is his little dog called Lil G. And they ride along. And if you've seen him, he's just always happy, and the dog's ears are going, ooh, and they're having a great time. They're just having a great time. But what I know about his background just recently was he used to live under the bridge. Alcohol, drugs, homeless, under the bridge. What I admire about this gentleman is that he got through that. That wasn't the truth of who he really was. He found that by being out with people, taking a different route, he could survive. And his health returned. And he is a person, if you ever need something, if you have a cause, he does fundraisers. He'll raise $30,000, $40,000 for families in need. Takes none of it himself. He's just living the generous life. He's found his place. It's not my place. It's his place. But it feels so right when you are with him. You know it's his place right now to be in this. So you can come through adversity as we perceive it to be. I'm sure it shaped him for what he's doing now. He'll go downtown and talk sleeping homeless people out of doorways. Because he says, I've been there. I know how that feels. He's honest and truthful. He's been there. I think it's a great story. Our life, my life, has been a series of listenings and retunings. And the 6 years since saying yes to this center, to having this center with my family here, has been transformational. We've all been transformed through many experiences along the way. And so, these are all indicators as we move through of a rich life. A rich life. You know, Gene, Dorothy, and Mike G-Ride, like you and I, have evolved along in our unique pathways. You know, some routes are really tough. But, you know, forward is the only direction that we really could travel, unless we just stop. And I think of Mike under the bridge just stopping for a while to do what he had to do, and then move forward. So as we move forward, I would urge that you pave your path with love, and faith, and a lot of trust. Because anytime we go a new way, a new path, that's all needed. Each step, each pedal, each pothole is an opportunity to grow, to expand, and to accept more truth in your life. So travel on your own terms, knowing you are supported by what is called a rich father, if you will, with a tuition fully paid for whatever's next. So live life in love and give to life generously. And I'd like to close with a profound writing from someone whom you might not think so profound until now. It was a change for me. Nothing lasts forever, so live it up. Drink it down, laugh it off. Avoid the drama and take chances, and never have regrets. Because at one point, everything you did was exactly what you wanted. Marilyn Monroe. So it is.